the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more.
Well, Nicki Minaj's public support of Donald Trump has reignited an uncomfortable but necessary conversation. This moment is not about outrage or cancellation. It is about consequence, influence, and what happens when cultural power is disconnected from historical responsibility. We have video of Minaj's declaration for Trump.
I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's gonna motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
Well, our next guest, Dante King, he's a historian, an author, and executive producer of the new award-winning book and docuseries, Diagnosing Whiteness and Anti-Blackness, White Psychopathology, Collective Psychosis, and Trauma in America. Dante, thank you so much for joining us for the breakdown.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So tell us, what were your thoughts when you saw Nicki Minaj publicly showing support for Donald Trump? What went through your mind as a historian?
So, I think that we see this a lot in our culture. I think it's a result of many years of believing that white is the standard, or that whiteness is the standard, and then trying to appeal to the conscience, to the favor of white people. And this happens in infinite ways in our society. I have researched it through a psycho-legal and a psycho-historical lens. I think Nicki Minaj, she just positioned herself as, either kind of the Jezebel or the mammy. And it's so interesting because this just really represents and demonstrates how Black women can be positioned as puppets for white people, be it white men or white women. In this case, he's a white man. But it also signals to something else, which is that Donald Trump has been embedded over many years into, I would call it Black entertainment, Black popular culture. There are references. I was listening to a song the other day, an old song by Young Jock, and he's talking about, being the Black Donald Trump. That was true for Kanye West. It's been true for other men as well, Ice Cube, who have supported this man. So I just think it represents something that is psychologically that needs to be studied, really.
If Nicki were sitting with us right now having a conversation, what would you really want her to understand about the weight of endorsing a figure like Donald Trump?
Well, first, I would say to her, she needs to go and find herself outside of the framework of whiteness and white supremacy so that she can get back to her own sociocultural roots. But it's dangerous. It is very dangerous because she has a substantial following, and it just sends a message to other Black people, particularly younger Black people, that this type of behavior is okay, and it is not.
Okay, so Nicki came to America. She was just 5 years old as an immigrant from Trinidad. What does that experience, how does that tie into this conversation?
Well, I think anti-Blackness is global. And so I talk about anti-Blackness in our book, that, it is really political psychology, or it is a psychology, a psychopolitical condition that we are all navigating. I think there are many different levels to it. And I think that, when immigrants come to America, be it from Latin America, be it from African countries, their idea of America is to become more like white people. And so as she has benefited from all of the institutions that we have in this country, particularly the entertainment and economic institution, and I want to throw in here that celebrityism is about narcissism, right? So this is about how much more attention she can get for herself and for her brand, and how that's going to translate into dollars, into capital for her. But going back to, you know, what she's doing and how she's positioning herself, she is dealing with unexamined anti-blackness, as many people of African descent are.
Can you go into detail about that? What is that?
So anti-blackness, it has been ingrained in this culture through legality, through, you know, the politics of what we identify as race or racial identity. And it's just, you know, from the beginning, from the founding of this country, there has been a psychological orientation that, you know, Black is wrong. Anything that is associated with the idea or perception of what Blackness means, or any associations of Blackness or toward Blackness, are derogatory. All of our associations about Black people or Blackness, the idea of Blackness, are derogatory. And the only types of Blackness that we find acceptable are is Blackness that comes through whiteness. So we esteem ourselves through white institutions. We value ourselves by Eurocentric educational standards, by the ways that we speak a Eurocentric language, our standards, norms, all of it. And so whether we're talking about featureism, texturism, colorism, our proximity to whiteness, be it education or capitalism, is how we define many times what we call Black excellence. And so you have this woman who worships, as many people, as many non-white people do, the institutions, the standards, the norms, the values, the behaviors of whiteness or Eurocentrism. And she is catering to it. She's pandering to it in this moment, and it has gone unexamined. And I think when we go to, for example, and I just want to quote a Black sociologist, Dr. E. Franklin Frazier, in his book, Black Bourgeoisie, and I quote him in my book, Diagnosing Whiteness and Anti-Blackness, he says, since the Black bourgeoisie live largely in a world of make-believe, the masks which they wear to play their sorry roles conceal the feelings of inferiority and the insecurity and the frustrations that haunt their inner lives. Despite their attempt to escape from real identification with the masses of Negroes, they cannot escape the mark of oppression any more than their less favored kinsmen. In attempting to escape identification with the Black masses, they have developed a self-hatred that reveals itself in their deprecation of the physical and social characteristics of Negroes. Likewise, their feelings of inferiority and insecurity are revealed in their pathological struggle for status in the isolated Negro world and craving for recognition in the white world. And so that's where we are.
What's the biggest thing you want folks to take away from that?
That we as a community have a lot to discover and to examine about the things that we have gone through as a collective group of people who are characterized as Black, as a Black community, and that it is just so evident that we don't know or have a consideration or a regard, a high regard for what our ancestors have had to endure, for what our parents and grandparents had to endure, because never would we be, if we knew what had really gone on in this country and what has gone on and what is happening now, we would not find ourselves ever voting for it or aligning ourselves with anyone like a Donald Trump or anyone that supports him.
Dante, tell us where we can read more of your work. Please
go to DanteKing.com. Go to DanteKing.com. This is my book, Diagnosing Whiteness and Anti-Blackness. And then my next book, The Psychopathy of Whiteness, The Epigenetics of Anti-Blackness, Malignant Narcissism, and Collective Diabolical Antisocial Personality Disorder, will be hitting the waves February 24th. And I'm doing a free webinar on February 15th. Go to DanteKing.com. Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you. Hope that you'll be back again. Again, you can visit his website. It's DanteKing.com.